The boat gave a big shudder. Seems we've docked at the harbor. The boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring rope. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. Should we do tips? We'll wait until we have a few more people. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guessed he was a servant of the Ushiramiya head household. Sorry, I gotta get a voice for Goda real quick. Welcome home, milady. You were so late in returning that I began to worry. Thanks for caring. This moron got so scared we had to slow down. It was seriously annoying. Shut up. Someday when the shoe's on the other foot, you'll remember this. Ugh. At this rate, word'll spread to the whole family, and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Even without this, everyone would be talking about me because of that 6-year gap, but now I've given them an even juicier topic. Yeah, forget that Battler hasn't been seen by anyone in the family in 6 years. He got scared on a boat. How about that? Damn it, why does the Ushiramiya head family have to live on this isolated island? In the meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our parents came up from inside the boat. You must be all quite tired from your long trip. Madam, please allow me to assist you. Thank you. It's been a while, Goda-san. How are you? I thank you for your concern. It's always my pleasure to serve. Battler-kun, isn't this your first time meeting Goda-san? If I'm not mistaken, you weren't working here 6 years ago, right? Indeed. So please, allow me to greet him for the first time. It is an honor to meet you, Battler-sama. I'm pretty confident about my height, but you're huge. This is definitely our first time meeting. I'd never forget meeting a big guy like you. It's a pleasure. I'm Battler. It's so fucking funny, Battler. Dude, you look huge. I was looking forward to meeting you. I am Goda, your servant, and I have been working for the Ushiramiya head family since the year before last. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Did you hear that bell? If there is anything you need, please feel free to rely on me at any time. Goda-san, it's been some time. It has been too long, George-sama. Please, allow me to assist you. As usual, you're a pro at welcoming guests. If you ever need a job, just let me know, okay? I'd hire you any time. It's so weird to just start yelling whenever Hideyoshi's... It's what you gotta do. You do me too much honor. Please allow me to assist you, Hideyoshi-sama. Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful, in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large size made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impression had led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtlessly worked at a similar job somewhere before. Oh god, I love you, Rakanjima! After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. It was probably returning to its home port on Nijima. The captain waved his hand in farewell. I gotta give Ryukishi some credit because I genuinely think Higurashi-era Ryukishi would have talked about how boats disembark and unmoor for like 10 minutes. So true, set of stairs moment. Maria conscientiously waved her hand back. Now that I think about it, that must be why I've felt something out of place for a while now. I can't hear the cries of the seagulls. I'm staring at you. I'm staring at the camera. My face when I can't hear the cries of the seagulls? Seagulls? The birds? If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with their lively nya nya cries. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere else, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. Except for the small part of the island where those of the Ushirimiya family live, Rockinjima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Supposedly there was a cliff somewhere that housed a huge seagull colony, so this island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet us made me feel a bit lonely. The water kitties. Good night, Archie. Thank you for hanging out, and thank you for the follow again. I appreciate it. What's wrong, Battler-kun? Oh, Aunt Rosa. No, it's nothing really. I was just thinking it's a bit lonely without the cries of the seagulls. Right, that's true now that you mention it. Even though they're always so noisy, today there isn't one to be seen. Why no seagulls? Maybe it's because the seagulls are having a get-together somewhere, too? Maria, did you want to see the seagulls? I wanted to see them. Still, it's a bit strange there isn't even a single one around. Maybe Jessica grilled them and ate them all. The hell? Don't say disturbing stuff like that. You'll get Maria believing it. Jessica Oni-chan grilled him. Jessica Oni-chan grilled him. I did not. Why the hell would I do something like that? That's right. Jessica grilled him. Skin and meatballs, liver and onion. Swim in meatballs, liver and onion. As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Ooh, I never guessed she was such a good sport. Alrighty then, from today on I'll make you my #1 follower. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed, possibly because she was happy about this little connection we'd made with each other. That's not it, Maria-chan. I've heard wild birds are attuned to changes in the weather and atmospheric pressure. George, the weather will probably get worse tonight. The seagulls might have returned to their nests early. Not grilled? Jessica Oni-chan didn't grill him? No! I wouldn't do something like that. Battler, you admit right now that you lied. Battler-kun, Maria-chan is a naive girl, so she takes even jokes seriously. You should choose your jokes more carefully. George Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. The hatred for George in the chat is unbelievable. There was no choice but to obediently apologize. Sure. My bad. Maria, that was a joke. The seagulls are all taking it easy in their nests today, that's all. Battler lied? George Oni-chan told the truth? Had she actually been tricked, despite all that fun that she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all. Yeah, that's right. What George Aniki said is true. The weather's bad, so they probably went home for the day. It doesn't mean they're gone. Right, Aunt Rosa? That's right. Tomorrow, when the weather gets better, I'm sure they'll come back so we can hear them cry, meow, meow, like they always do. I'll wait until the weather gets better and they come back. Gonna wait until tomorrow. Gonna wait until the weather's better. Maria was in a lighter mood and was looking forward to tomorrow when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. You might even say when they Still, George Aniki really was amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was a brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift. George-kun is amazing at taking care of young kids. If you wanted to, I bet he'd do a great job in childcare, don't you think? Yeah, it's almost like George Nissan was born to do something like that. Personally, I think that'd suit you better than doing business in some company president's office. Oh, no. Childcare is a fine career path, but it's not a job where merely liking children is enough. You really are modest, George-kun. But Battler-kun is quite good with children, too. Just a second ago, even though it didn't last long, Maria seemed to be having a lot of fun. Even though it didn't last long. Please, keep on playing with her like you did just now. Just choose your jokes more carefully, okay? Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun. No, I'm with you, Zeros. I'm with you, Zeros. I don't really get it. Come on, Rosa. And you brats too. What the hell are you doing? Let's get going. I think people have just already decided they hate George and no matter what he says. Yeah, I think this is what happened. Okay, we're coming. The old bastard was waving for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms. Now then, everyone, allow me to lead you to the guest house where you will be spending the night. Please, this way. Goda-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. These are good steps. Love these steps. If George has 100 haters, I am one of them, etc. I mean, I do hate George, but not because of that scene. But to be fair, I do also hate George. It's going okay for Battler so far, you know? A serpentine twisting path led through a dim forest. I'm so sorry, I thought I had more time to eat that chicken. I thought we were gonna look at stairs for longer. A serpentine twisting path led through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I'd guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep. But personally, I'd have been happier if they had had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose, to put on airs of distance and importance. So this is interesting, because George is one of the most... George is probably the most controversial character in this book, and he will get more controversial as time goes on. But there are people who see the stuff George does, and are like, yeah, no, that's cool. And there are people who are immediately like, man, fuck George. We have an Oishi situation? We kinda do. Before long, we saw garden-style stone steps. From here on, I do have some memories. Go up these, and at the top of the stone steps, we saw a beautiful guest house. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it. It's as beautiful as ever this year. A real delight for the eyes. A lot of people liked Oishi by the end, but like, you know. Oishi for most of the... I think Oishi is far more not Oishi, George is far more controversial than anyone in Higurashi. Umineko has a lot more, like, morally gray characters in it. After climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one. Is it just me, or are the flowers a little less lively this year? It's probably because it wasn't that hot this summer. I also believe that was a factor. Sadly, this year's blooming is a tad inferior when compared to last year's. Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remember that even 6 years ago, huge numbers of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents, who came every year, couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago. This place is always so amazing. It would be wonderful to have a rose garden like this at home. Give it up. Who do you think would take care of it? Roses are a real pain with bugs and diseases to worry about. Well, from what I've heard, Kirie-ne-san has to take care of her rose every day and make sure no bugs get anywhere near it, right? Huh? What are you talking about? That's right. Though in this person's case, the rose goes after the insects like some nasty carnivorous plant. I love how much everyone, including his wife, are just like, yeah, Rudolph sucks. Hate that guy. Oh, so that's what you mean. Come on, Rosa, can't you give that a rest just for today? I've put that sort of thing completely behind me. I wonder. After all, you're a womanizer on an almost genetic level. The fastball Rudolph spray, it's really good. No need to worry, Rosa-san. When a rose gives you too much trouble, it's always best to snip it at the root. Such frightening talk this is. Guys who are popular with the ladies are always forced to live dangerously. I sure hope I turn out a bit prettier in my next life. I love you, Hideyoshi. Hideyoshi Nissan, like I keep saying, it isn't like that at all. And Kirie, stop it, you're freaking me out. You've made my rose wilt. A lot of dick talk at this family reunion. Hey, Maria-chan, look over here. These roses are especially magnificent. Magnificent roses. Ugh. Smells pretty sweet. Look, this suits my elegance perfectly. I love you, Battler. You're so cool. You're such a dork. Hey, cut it out. Mari's gonna imitate you and get hurt by the thorns. She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George Aniki smiling broadly at us. Hey now, Maria-chan, be careful. Rose thorns can hurt. George Oni-chan, only this rose is strange. Ugh. Strange? What's wrong? Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish and others wilt. That's all there was to it, but Maria seemed very concerned about the one unhealthy one in the group. It must have made her feel lonely. So, you feel sad for this rose because it's the only one that isn't healthy? Ugh. The others are all healthy, but this one's sad. Oh no. Y'all, I've read Umineko too many times. I cannot react to really, really basic foreshadowing without, like, tears starting to well up in my eyes. I'm good. It's fine! Well, they all bloom and wither at their own paces. I bet this one's just starting to wilt early because it got to bloom before any of the others. Yeah, that's right. It probably just bloomed like crazy, fulfilled its duty, and then went to sleep. You shouldn't get so worked up about it. Ugh. It seemed that Maria's pure, sensitive nature was making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her. Then, Maria-chan, why don't you look after this rose until we leave? George Aniki straightened up and felt around in his pocket. He then took out the wrapper from the candy he had been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string, then gently tied it to the rose as a sort of marker. Hey, that's pretty cute. Let's mark it with this. Later on, you can come and give it some water. I'm sure Mr. Rose will be happy. Ooh, come to give it water. Okay, not everything George does sucks. That's like really cute. I actually love that. I think you should give Mr. Rose here a name. I'm sure that'll make it happy and you'll get to know it a little better. A name? A name. Ooh. Hey, what's Maria's mom's name? Though she still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have been completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki. George Nissan has always been really understanding. Can't help but respect him. Yeah, I guess he was just born that way. We've got to start picking up tips. Was this garden just as magnificent when you all were kids? It was only after I stopped living here that it grew so big. Before that, the garden was simpler, though I'm still attached to that one. Nissan fiddled with it too much, with that vaguely bad taste of his. I liked it much better before. Ava, you've got to think positive. Setting aside how it used to look, its beauty now is something to be admired. You'll be able to relax a lot better if you look at it that way. I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying that I wanted you to see the garden the way I did before, too. Bleh. I was just saying that I wanted you to see this garden the way it was before, too. Ava's more sentimental than she seems, isn't she? That's a very sentimental thing to say. I keep forgetting these two are a couple. They are a big Family Guy funny moments couple. Like, look at them. Everyone, if you please, I shall guide you to your rooms now. Goda-san called to everyone to ask if we were ready, but our hearts had been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year, so we didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had to let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Goda-san continued to wait, smiling wildly, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms. Oh? Hey! If it isn't Kanon-kun! It's been so long! How are you doing? Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took off his hat, and bowed his head. Good afternoon. I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us. Butler-sama, allow me to introduce you. This is one of the servants of the Ushiramiya head household. Kanon-san, greet our guest. I'm pleased to meet you. I am the servant, Kanon. Some of the servants are allowed to wear the Ushiramiya family crest. Yeah, you noticed that. Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Goda-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon only cast his eyes downwards. Kanon-san, could you perhaps give them a little more of a greeting? No. Because we are furniture. Just gonna let that... Just waiting for the first oh no in the chat. Okay. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting. I love how Battler's like, oh, he doesn't know what to say. Bro just said he was furniture. Well, Kanon-kun's shy and doesn't tend to talk much. He might not be that sociable, but deep down he's a really good person. Don't get him wrong. You've been working here for 3 years, haven't you? Pretty sure you started a year before Goda-san, right? Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature caused him trouble a lot. Okay then, nice to meet you. I'm Battler. I'm 18. How old are you? When the Ushiramiya cell says something so furniture-phobic, you gotta give him the Rockenjima stare. Look at that face! It's so good! Oh my god. Hello, Kanon. Battler's 18. Yes, Battler is 18. He fell silent, as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead. If I remember correctly, Kanon's 2 years younger than us, so 16, right? Yes, that is correct. It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. I see. 16, huh? It's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have. I'm glad you're about our age. Just be cool and call me Battler. And I'll call you Kanon. Thank you very much. But sentiment alone is sufficient. Battler-sama. Jessica looked panicky for some reason. Battler's like, this is going so well. I made a new friend. She seemed to think my impression of Kanon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at this age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that. Kanon-san, could you perhaps be a little more courteous? A smiling face is also part of a servant's duty. My apologies. I shall make an effort. Goda-san, Kanon-kun is trying his best, yes? It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable, and apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile, but let out a small sigh of resignation. Well then, I still have work to do. If you'll excuse me. It looked like Kanon himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Oh, I forgot that this scene is just unmitigated torture. Just then the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance. What do you think you're doing? Now, clean it up quickly. Goda-san urged him in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of the guests. Kanan-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels, and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some of the heavy sacks of fertilizer. Don't worry, Kanan, I'm a cool class enemy. Are you okay? You're so careless. Here. Milady, you will dirty your garments. Please, leave this to us. With a smooth motion, Doda-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Kanan-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer. Ugh. You'll dirty your garments? Don't worry, the ones I'm wearing aren't that expensive. Besides, I hate guys who just sit there and make the waitress pick up the fork they dropped at the restaurant. I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course, they weren't light, but for me it was a piece of cake. This hurts. I hope the murders start soon. I'm sure this is fine for Kanan that Battler's helping. I'm sure this is totally okay. Kanan-kun looked at me, surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest. Battler-sama, don't worry about it. I will take care of everything, so... Don't you worry. I may not look it, but I've got it where it counts. Since Kanan-kun looked like he hadn't gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him. It's quite heavy. It's natural that it would be difficult for you. Don't worry about it, Kanan-kun. Oh my god, George, don't say it out loud! Christ! Okay, my time to shine. This makes up for the boat stuff from before, right? Huh. As if this could make up for freaking out like that. Later. I'll tell you about it too, Kanan-kun. Battler was totally hilarious. Gonna fall! Fall! Battler is like extremely redeemable. Being redeemable is one of his most important traits. The stream will probably go on for a couple more hours, but I am gonna put this all in. The VOD will be up. The VOD will be up soon. The VOD will be up right after the stream, and if anyone wants to hit !YouTube, I'm gonna put the episodes up on YouTube the next day. As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow. I beg your forgiveness for letting you witness such unsightliness. Come now, that's quite enough. Please, go. Letting the guests who were supposed to feel welcome see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Kanan-kun left. You're too harsh on him, Goda-san. Shouldn't you have helped him instead of being a bully? Eva Dub. Yeah, hey Goda, you piece of shit. Why didn't you help? Okay, I don't have to pretend like I don't fucking hate Goda with every fiber of my being now. That was wrong of me. I deeply implore your forgiveness. Oh, I fucking hate you, Goda. Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly. Kanan-kun has a ton of things he's good at, too. It's just that being young works against him all the time. It's a crying shame. Well, it's a prickly age. Let's just leave him be. After all, closed-mouthed servants are the best kind. Isn't that right, Kumasawa-san? Holy shit, Rudolph! Rudolph-sama, you truly are harsh. There is no servant as silent as me, of course. I mean, Kumasawa can take it, though, you know? Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa Bachan used to be. That once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile. I'd like to set down our luggage soon. Goda-san, what rooms are we all going to take? It shall be the same as the previous year. Allow me to guide you. Please, this way. We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Okay, let's check some tips real quick. We've met a couple new characters. Ushiramiya Jessica, Klaus and Natsui's daughter. In the absence of any irregularities, it is thought that she will eventually inherit the headship of the Ushiramiya family, or technically her husband will. However, she seems to have no interest in all of this. She was born with weak bronchi and is sometimes assailed by sudden asthma attacks. Okay. Cool. No, thanks for that. Her outfit is incredible. She's got like double skirt. I like it. Chekhov's asthma. So true. Yeah? Her name is Kumasawa Chiyo. What do you mean, servant Kumasawa? This elderly woman is a part-timer who, though she has quit her job several times along the way, has served the family for a great many years in total. She is crafty and more than competent when it comes to performing her duties, but because of her chattiness and love of rumors, she is not highly regarded as a servant. I don't even know Goda's full name. Servant Goda will work fine. A servant hired as a cook. He hasn't served this family long, but through his earlier jobs and previous experience, he has cultivated a talent for entertaining guests. Because of this, he is very highly regarded as a servant. Goda Toshiro, thank you. Servant Canon, a young servant. He performs his duties silently and diligently, but is not so highly regarded as a servant due to his unsociable nature. There are multiple other servants with the On character in their pseudonyms. He and Shannon just happened to be the ones on duty that day. So true. Canon watched over a hedge as all the guests entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. His socks are lame, I love him. Canon is the goat, I love Canon so much. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Canon couldn't lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Canon. But as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. But those words he murmured were so soft they didn't even reach his own ears. Even I. Canon hung his head, silently biting his lower lip. God, that hurts, and like you don't even know what it is. It still hurts though. I remember the Rose Garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Torian? I forget. Torian Visitor's Retreat was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design, carefully done in harmony with the garden. Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since then, they've had us sleep over here. This place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here. So yeah, Jessica lives on the island if you have not picked up on that. Ugh. I want a room here too. I want one. I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who only came over only a few times a year. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, please, do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kyrie-sama, please take this room here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. Ava, you're so rich. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that and you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats. They've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with a Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it. I'm really jealous, George Nissan. Your parents get along well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades. I love how openly Jessica talks about everything she talks about. All the rooms seem to be for two people. I was grateful since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with that old bastard under the pretext that we were family. And anyway, I figured those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. What's with that creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Something dirty? Of course not. Please enjoy your stay. Ow, 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 ow. That hurts, you old bastard. Balor's such a fucking goofball. He's like, you're gonna have sex with my dad later. Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. Getting a stomach ache and I'm not in the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and Aniki and the rest. At the very least, be careful of what you say in front of Dad, got it? Because wisecracks don't go too well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately? Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months left to live, he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. Yeah, he's got 3 months left to live, huh? Okay. Meaning this year he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only ones who's able to look after him is Genji-san. It seems the master will open his heart to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shut himself in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for a hobby is his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. I wish he'd never come out of that study again. Holy shit. Is Jessica 3 on? She is truly Mion and Shion put together. Battler, like, too bad, I have no conversation skills besides bits. You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him since he built the Uchiromiya family. We should be more grateful. Well, sorry. After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Uchiromiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant all its members were a bit strange, and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of that chain, our family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. You're asking me to like this character, Proxy? Absolutely not. I never said that. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Thanks, Battler. Because of that, even us grandkids have had to suffer. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, it's scary. He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person. But George Nissan, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword. On my ass. My ass! On my maidenly innocent ass! Fucking love you, Jessica. Well, you're the heiress of the head family, Jessica-chan. Grandfather is giving you special attention. You've got to realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you. Yeah, that was the same dudes, yes. Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George Nissan. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry. I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins in branch families, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do. Jessica One-chan, is that heavy? If I help hold it, will it get lighter? Thanks. It's okay, I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have had trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Battler-kun, I heard you're going to be with me in this room here. Oh? Now there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' rooms, dang. Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together, so I told them to get a bigger room ready. I don't know how I feel about her saying she'll carry that cross to the grave. So true. Ugh. I like it here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama. Ugh. Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay. This room is George and mine, but we'll give you special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? Ugh. It's a secret. Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? Are you cousins just gonna stay here and chat? God, it has so much family reunion energy. There's it's like a little bit of when they cry, like just weirdness, but then it's also a little bit of regular family reunion. Book 1 is so weird, in a good way. Rikishi fucking knows. He does. It seemed they were headed to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally, they would make us follow them and greet everyone together, but if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come, and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what'll we do? Well, it's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worst comes to worst, this might be their last chance to play outdoors. Ooh, I'll go too. Maria, you house sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here. Ugh. Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own. Rosa, what the fuck? George Aniki noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all of us cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. That sounds wonderful. And Battler-kun has 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he? Yeah, no, George just oscillates between being a good regular guy and saying stuff that sucks so bad. That's the George special. Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy. Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest to the adults. Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to Madam. Then allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please. The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us? If we make him come, then poor George will be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later. The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goda-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to us cousins, George Aniki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back. What's up, Aniki? Nothing. I just wanted to ask her something. Ugh. Tell me too. Tell me too. What could George Nissan be asking Kumasawa-san and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding. Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me. Hey, Maria, it looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about? Ugh. We want to know too. We want to know too. Ooh. I fooled around while oohing together with Maria. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal. Liar. I'm surprised you'd tell such a terrible lie, Aniki. Confess. I want to see it. Type it. Type it. There it is. Thank you. Usada! Maria, you tickle his right side. I'll tickle his left. Ugh. I've got his right side. Battler's got his left. Ugh. Oh, wait a second. Wait, you two. Stop. Oh, we got new sound effects. Maria and I played around chasing George Aniki as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. Yo, Zato, welcome. What's up, Sarge? I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun. George Nissan, what were you asking Kumasawa-san? Well, I've got a good guess. Guess. Why did I say guess? It's been a year since the last time he visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time. Either way, it looks like he'd like to go and say hi. Say hi. I want to say hi too. What the hell? That's nothing to feel guilty about, Aniki. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. Aniki's still hiding something. More torture. Stop it, seriously. Maria-chan, you too, stop already. She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. I'll bet you'd rather be welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. Shannon. Shannon. Ah. Yeah, I remember a girl with that name. Is she still a servant? How's she doing? Yeah? Okay. Wait, no. The transition should go for longer. I need to eat more chicken. It was too big of a bite. I'm sorry. I slept in a little today, which kind of threw my schedule off a bit, so I'm eating chicken at 1 in the morning. Chicken. Okay, I'm good. By the way, Natsui-ne-san, how's your headache been lately? It seemed pretty serious before. I have been much better lately. Thank you for your concern. What a strong impression Natsui makes. You get exactly what is going on with this woman the first time you see her. Oh, right. Here. A present for you, Natsui-ne-san. Thank you very much. I'm always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea? It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's a blend from a well-known store, and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you, too. Rosa was always a conscientious woman. Probably because she was the youngest of 4 and much younger than the other 3. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. So as you've probably noticed, we are not bound to Battler's POV. Her kind words got Natsui to soften her expression for just a moment, but it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress. Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together. Jessica-chan has her exams this year, right? That's going to be a turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Besides, Natsui-ne-san, you're 3 years younger than me. You should get your act together. So... It's time to meet Ushiramiya Eva. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life. Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully, but her comments aimed at Natsui contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsui. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretended to ignore Eva. Our Battler-kun will have his exams this year too. Rudolph-san, shouldn't you be a little concerned as well? For the sake of your own son, you'd better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsui-ne-san. Kirie is like, I know how to make this less awkward. I'm gonna tell my husband that he's bad again. If I say anything, he automatically rebels. So what should I say? Should I say the opposite? That it's okay for him to mess around? That's probably the only way I could get him to listen to me. Hideyoshi Nissan, George did really well on his exams, right? Please, you've got to teach me the trick to handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. That's right, the real point of studying is to practice research and stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. Wait, is Hideyoshi, like, smart? I mean, I know I've read this 4 times before, but look at that. If you can't do that, you can't be useful to society. Okay, well then, you know. I'm not talking about math or writing. You gotta learn how to learn. He's right about the everything except the useful to society part, but that's a very common sentiment. Not gonna hold that against him too hard. That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that as well. If she is to be the heiress of the Ushiramiya family, then at this rate... God, look at the way Ava just slid into the center of the frame. Do you really have to force her into becoming the successor? After all, a woman has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force things on their children, don't you think? Hold your horses, Ava. Every family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy. I'm sorry. Natsui-ne-san, don't take it the wrong way. Oh my god! Natsui, I'm sorry! Though the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsui. As if to sweep away that mood, Kyrie brightly made a suggestion to all present. Still, this black tea has a really lovely aroma. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but Ginza, right? I see you know a lot about it, Kyrie-ne-san. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kyrie and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsui forestalled them. I thank you both, but we can try that later. One of our people will soon be coming to bring some tea, so please relax. Leave it for later, you two. Let's enjoy our welcome drink. Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kyrie and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. Tea? More tea? The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsui bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Ava immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsui gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. Excuse me, your tea is ready. Oh, Shannon-chan, it's been a while. You keep getting prettier every time I see you. Oh, thanks. Save the chatting for after you've set up the table. The tea will get cold. I apologize, madam. She apologized like a small, frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart, and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her clumsiness made Natsui's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more. Every time this Ava sprite is the first sprite on screen, I can't handle it. I cannot handle it. Takano wishes she could sneer like this. Come on, Natsui-ne-san. There's nothing wrong with her exchanging a few words in greeting. The tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting. There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet. Shannon finished setting the table quickly. I'm sorry, madam. Natsui's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant. Everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsui's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Ushiramiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days, was surely nothing less than total humiliation. Lay off, Natsume-ne-san. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon-chan when she's trying her best? I'm not bullying anyone. What a nice aroma. And may I ask what brand this is? I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later. Kyrie was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsui's face and the room's mood. By this point, Ava was audibly giggling. What's this? Shannon-chan, don't you even know what you're pouring us? Come now, you mustn't serve something so suspicious to guests. We'll need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this. I'm sorry. I'll go get one immediately. Shannon-chan, do you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Do you know why? No. A teasing smile rose to Ava's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Ava's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Ava's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help. They say that if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. Guess you learned something today, Shannon-chan. They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsui's eyes, this was an insult to both the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Ava's shoulder. Silver cutlery wouldn't do any good for you, Aniki. Just one lick of your poisonous tongue and even a silver plate would turn pitch black. Since I get to hear that poisoned tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself by now. Ava, I don't mind when you muse it on me, but you better hold it back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance. Hideyoshi is a pretty sweet dude. Like, socially at the very least. He's like, I'm sorry about my terrible hot wife. I know she's so awful and so attractive, I apologize. My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon-chan a bit about tea, didn't I? Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsui didn't join in, but for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. He's good at it too, because he's married to Ava! As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kyrie apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave us a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downward as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Kyrie seems pretty normal too, right? After seeing the pitiful way she looked, might easily conclude she'd been bullied in some way. I think there's a missing word. Don't be sad. You didn't do anything wrong, Ne-san. You were watching. That is my role. Madam and Ava-sama can go to hell. But the worst coward is that guy. Canon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, they had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt it was a cowardly one. It's okay, Canon-kun. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all. Kanon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better. You keep your feelings too bottled up, Mason. You should be less hard on yourself for once. Yeah. Thanks. Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. What are you doing there? Shannon, hurry back to the kitchen. Yes, if you'll excuse me. Look at all these ellipses from Canon. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Canon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. Shannon's stand B is the cart, by the way. The tea cart. It's good. What is it? Did something happen? Shannon didn't do anything wrong. But even so, they... Stop it, Canon-kun. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Canon-kun, you should go back to your post, too. Please. If you say so, Nesa. If that is all, then go. Yes, if you'll excuse me. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Poor Shannon-san, Kanon-san. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken in by the Ushiramiya head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda-san is the newest servant here. He must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions. Because Shannon-san and Kanon-kun are his seniors here at the mansion, yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has, he picks on them every chance he gets. And so, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsui too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the Madam has been in this family much longer. And yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the Madam as well. Truly, the Master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the Madam such an inferiority complex? Thanks, Kumasawa. Of course, on the inside, even the Madam is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. However, the heart has reasons that reason knows not. I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows. Umineko, when they cry. Also, it's noon, so, write that down.